today I was going to basically look at two areas to assist with this presentation. One is looking at some new features within Exo, which is always exciting, and then overview of one of the BI tools that are used with MYOB Exo and other ERP products. In the latest release, there's been some great work done with extra fields, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the extra fields in Exo. It lets us capture a lot of additional information in certain screens that many of our customers use. So what you will hopefully see here is in our tables, and I'm sure everyone's familiar with this, but if not, please contact your partner to assist. What we can see here is we've added a new area called permissions. This permissions tab now lets us look at adding two features. The main one is mandatory. So now if you're on a screen and want to capture some extra information at a profile level, which is pretty exciting, you can now make certain information on those screens at a field level mandatory just by clicking the button and pressing save. And it's done at a profile level, which is effectively in Exo a user level. So you can make certain users in Exo save information, because if they go to exit the screen, if they've updated it, it'll pop up and say, please save this field. So you can control at a user level who basically must save information. And when we're talking about data and insights of that data, it's important that the data is meaningful and accurate. So rather than just being able to skip over that and leave the screen, it'll give us this ability to make sure that the data that's required is being entered. So that's been asked for a while and at a user level. So not necessarily everyone has to do it, but you have the option to enforce that for certain roles and users. We also, just while I'm on that screen, have the ability to make those extra fields visible. So certain users of our system may or may not see those extra fields, and then may or may not be able to update them, or whether they see them as read-only or not. So there's a lot of functionality that's now in the extra fields that really does add a lot to Exo. So please be aware of those. I'm also going to show you in Exo itself. In builder materials, I hope some people out there might use builder materials. I know a lot of you do. There is now the feature here for extra fields in builder materials, which is new. There will also be the ability coming forward for bill of materials lines and extra fields as well. But for the minute, we can see that the extra fields just appear here. I've just added a branch location to my particular demo database here in Motorparts. And you can see that I can now pick the production location for this particular bill of materials and just press save, and that will save that just like that. So that's a new feature as well. Another one that I think is pretty exciting, but then again, I'm an Exo tech guy, so, excitement's my thing. Okay, one of the things for looking at helping our clients with a bit of functionality here is I can go into mail shot, which obviously gets used a few places in Exo, and I'm not seeing any data there, so I'm going to move it back a little. There we go. And if I now want to use MailShot to, send that information out, you can see that it's subtle, but there's now a primary email, which was always there, but there's also a CC and a BCC. So you have the flexibility now to control if you just don't want more than one person in an organization, but maybe more than one, maybe a financial controller and an accounts payable, whoever it might be, you can now determine at a much lower level who gets to see that invoice, the primary, the CC, and a BCC as well. Now, those fields are controlled in Exo at the customer level in the maintain debtors. So if we look through there, I can now see that on the details 2 of the debtors screen, here's now a invoice email CC and an invoice email BCC. So they will automatically appear. If you'd like your partner to help you populate those, because obviously these are brand new fields, we can do that using a spreadsheet and, just upload them for you, or use a quick insert or whatever it might be, rather than enter them one by one. But you can do that too. So that's absolutely there for you. Another thing I wanted to also just mention, though this one isn't technically in the latest version, is you can see that if you use the @ symbol in the field itself, you can see that there are some inbuilt system variables that you can use. So you might, for example, if you're using job costing, want to use job manager. You might want to use @ salesperson to bring the relevant salesperson through. And that means you don't actually have to type in the literal text. You can just put those system variables in and press save, and Exo will take care of that for you as well. So I hope that all is fairly clear, but please contact us or ask a question in the chat today if you'd like to know a little bit more about that. Moving back to Exo Config, again, another feature that's now been built in, which has been asked for a while from some people, and I've done some work to try to kind of make this work, but now it's all in here, is you can actually see that there is a login history, which is just great. So what you can do is you can now check who's actually logged into Exo, who they are, their name, which part of Exo they're using, whether it's Exo Core or one of the fields. You can see what machine they've logged into, how long they were there, that when they log in, their log out. And another nice thing you can actually see is whether they've been using via their Windows authentication as well. So there's a lot of information in there that's now automatically logged when someone logs into Exo, and you don't have to do anything. It's all there. You just need access to Exo Config, which of course can be granted via our usual methods of authentication. So I think that's it for the new features. Obviously, have a chat to us. One thing I did want to point out, Kilimanjaro has this wonderful page for the Exo business version history. If you would like that, please let us know. What it is a page that basically summarizes every Exo release. And this goes back quite a while. So if you're on an older version of Exo and you'd like to kind of say, oh, well, what's happened since, say, Exo 2020, rather than go through the release notes, there is this lovely dot point version that shows you the new features at a release level. It does have a link to the release notes, and I think MYOB have done a good job here. But a lot of people don't want to read through the 40 pages of, the system requirements and what's happened. So if you just want a nice little summary, please go to this URL on the Kilimanjaro website, and you can have a really great little experience there to see the key points rather than go through every single point. So that's it from the new features side for me. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. The other thing I wanted to show today, just kind of keeping in mind that I'm not here to do a full demo on Focus itself, but I did want to show you a great BI tool called Focus and how wonderful it can be to give you some great insights about the data that's sitting in your MYOB Exo warehouse. Focus has different little product focuses, pardon the pun, for showing you different parts of the data within your MYOB Exo. I'm going to look at two briefly. Like I said, I could literally sit here all day and show you the great benefits of Focus. But what I did want to show you today is one, financial reporting. So obviously a lot of you will be very familiar with the old P&L, okay, the balance sheet and the profit and loss. what I wanted to show you using focus is just how simple it was, is just by using all of these lovely criteria we have up here, how simple it is to really get analysis and insight of a particular group just by being able to click on a particular row, for example, in our P&L, broken down by department, being able to add all of these lovely criteria here. And then just by hitting the focus button on this particular cost of sale, being able to drill down into that, see the data broken down by, in this case, by period. And then if I want to see what actually constitutes all of that information, I can then just hit the transactions button and the BI tool will automatically go through and do that for us. And from there, I can then even go further down and break this tool down and just reset back to where I was. Then I can break it down again just by a different category, just by clicking on the left or on the right and putting that criteria through. I know P&Ls aren't for everyone, but they are one of those essential things that are useful. I did, though, also want to show you if we wanted to look at this information in Exo again using the insights here, we can look at a different page altogether, which is more sales orientated than financial reporting. And I can show you here a lot of really meaningful data. We've got these lovely different types of charts. We can look at, keep going down. You can just see budgets, sales, heat maps, inventory. It really doesn't matter what you want to see here, can be customized in the BI tool, and using the same just simple clicking as before. If I want to go and see what makes up this chart, I can just click on Analyze and it'll break me down, and I can just keep drilling through really simply just by pressing the buttons that I'm interested in, and it'll just keep going through. I literally could spend all day showing you the lovely features of Focus. I'm not here for that, but being able to use Focus as a BI tool to show us these insights is really what I wanted to show you today. So without running too much over time, I hope everyone found that really useful. If you've got any questions, please put it through us here today in this session, or contact us and your partner who can hopefully help you bring out some of the real insights that's hidden inside your Exo database and help you to make some insightful decisions. I think that's it from me for the time being.